might as well, right? Okay, so we are head coaches. My name is Carlos Cardona, and this is my co-host, Blerta Berisha. And
Hello.
today we're going to be presenting this topic is going to be organizing, plagiarism, referencing, ethic in work, in businesses, as well as some other things that I thought we could include in the presentation that you guys might find interesting or they haven't been discussed so far from the webinars that I see. So now I can take my glasses off and let's get to it. Okay, so an overview. Could you go over it, Blerta, for me?
Yeah, sure. So we were going to be focusing on those main points that you see. It's going to be organizing, structuring, and delivering work to coach as a head coach, and tools and teamwork in a model. We're going to speak Carlos in this part about report, plagiarism, referencing, and ethic on business. I will speak.
And also one more thing that I would like to mention, doesn't that GIF look cool? I mean, like Lilo and Stitch, come on, that's really amazing. And it took me a while to look for it. So I hope you guys enjoy the dancing memes. All right, let's go. So first thing we should talk about is organizing your work and reports. So everybody that's been in X culture knows the feeling for each weekend, how it is. So in reality, this before starting the project, you're gonna be like this, just lollygagging, doing other things, going out with your friends. And by the time you realize it's the last day, you haven't completed the report and it's already due. So you're cramming everything together, just like Bob SpongeBob, just trying to get all the papers. It's a mess, it's chaos. You're just trying to organize. And sometimes you just can't. You don't have the time, and that's where problems happen in the groups. So what I'm trying to do is to help the people organize their projects and to be better prepared so they know when they can do it, because we are all busy. So we're trying to find the time and a place to be able to complete our goals. So here's a little video. Let me know if you guys can't hear it. Write it on the chat, and my co-host will let me know. So here we go.
Okay, Mr. Essay, I say, prepare to be written! I'm doing it! I'm doing it! Yeah! Yeah! In some of these, in some of these. Almost there, and done. Now let's see how it looks so far.
That's basically everybody in this culture so far that I know that we spend so much time looking into some things and some aspects of the reports that we don't actually get to write the actual report and what we need to do to complete the reports. So that's just a little video to show you like how it is sometimes. So let's go to the next slide. So the way that I organize my reports, I personally use Google Drive, because Google Drive helps me keep all my projects, all my information. Everything that I document, I put it here because I know that I can have it as a backup, as well as having a backup on my drive inside my computer. But this is the way that I use it, and I can show you the example of the first quarter if you guys are able to see it right now on my screen. So the way I set it out, I have a coaches completed assignments, head coaches completed assignments, as well as I have the companies that I'm in charge of organizing, as well as for the people that can assist the webinars, I do complete some notes for them. So I'll have the notes for that specific week or what we have to do for that time period, just to keep everything in one place and to be organized. As well as the companies, what I do is I get the reports from the students and the reports from the companies, what they are specifically looking for, and I get it into the PDF and I have it for my coaches, because I know my coaches, sometimes they don't know what exactly the company is looking for. So just having the PDF and being able to see the PDF and know what the company is looking for helps us a lot to cut a lot of the time they could be spent doing other things. So that's one way. Also, if you go back, I have my coaches work here. I have the webinars that they're supposed to be working on, as well as for the week 1. I have the reports here as well as week 2. I have the reports here, and I have the dates so that I know which dates they worked on it and which dates they haven't worked and who did it and who didn't do that. So it's just a way to keep everything organized, and I'm sure that Kimi has something similar because she's been trying to implement Google Drive as well in one of her projects. So just to give her an idea of how I'm doing mine specifically, and if she has any questions, she can leave it to the end. So this is the second quarter, and it's very much similar. I just have this video on the side, but this will be the chart for example, who's doing what which week. So I'll have the team numbers for the teams that I'm going to be reviewing, and then my other teammates are going to have them as well here, so I know which reports they're working on, so that we don't overlap and we're not doing two at the same time, if you get what I'm trying to say. As well as I have the instructions, everything they need, the formatting, all of that's here. So it's just a way for me to keep track of everything, just because I'm very organized and I like to have my things organized as well. As well as having the reports here, I have my reports here as well. And the formatting and layout, I do everything myself, but it's not that difficult if you have the time invested. You can do it yourself as well. Like, for example, this is one of the outlines that I did. And I started from scratch to the point where now it is like this, but it's taken me a bit of time. So again, everything in X culture, if you want to do a good job, is a time investment. You just got to find the right time to do it. So that's basically the drive. Now back, as you guys can see, there's other things that you can use as well. I would recommend, if you're not a coach, but you're a student, or even coaches, even head coaches, sometimes we need this as well, is having a weekly Skype call with your team members, so that you're on track, who's doing what's going on. If there's any problems that arise in the group, you can have an idea of how to solve that issue. And it's not just Skype. You can have WhatsApp, you can have Viber, you can have multiple applications, just to keep track of what's going on in the group. Because if you don't have communication in the group, there's going to be problems. The problems are going to rise, people are going to lose interest in the project, and it's just going to be a mess. So you're trying to be proactive, not reactive. This is the main goal for me, and for anybody that's trying to grow within X culture, basically. So why are modern business structures inefficient? We have two very funny videos just to show you. Anybody, write on the chat if you have ever seen Office Space. It's super interesting and really fun. So if you've seen Office Space, just write it down in the chat, and Blerta will be able to keep with the comments.
Sure.
Hello, Peter. What's happening? We have sort of a problem here. Yeah, you apparently didn't put one of the new cover sheets on your TPS reports.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry about that. I forgot.
Yeah. You see, we're putting the cover sheets on all TPS reports now before they go out. Did you see the memo about this?
Yeah. Yeah, I have the memo right here. I just forgot. But it's not shipping out till tomorrow, so there's no problem.
Yeah. If you could just go ahead and make sure you do that from now on, that would be great. And I'll go ahead and make sure you get another copy of that memo. Okay?
Yeah, no, I have the memo.
He's got it there.
That's right.
But no, there's nothing you can do about it. That's administration for you.
Milton. Hi. Could you turn that down just a little bit?
Well, I was told that I could listen to the radio at a reasonable volume from 9 to 11.
Yeah, no, I know you're allowed to. I was just thinking maybe like a, personal favor.
Well, I told Bill that if Sandra's going to listen to her headphones while she's falling, then I should be able to listen to the radio while I'm collating. So I don't see why I should.
That's
have
an
to
example of dealing with
I
colleagues.
enjoy
Right there.
listening at a reasonable volume.
Thanks.
From 9 to 11.
Milton.
Hi, Peter. What's happening? We need to talk about your TPS reports.
Yeah, the cover sheet, I know. Bill talked to me about it.
Yeah. Did you get that memo?
Yeah, I got the memo, and I understand the policy, and the problem is just that I forgot the one time, and I've already taken care of it, so it's not even really a problem anymore.
Yeah. It's just we're putting new cover sheets on all the TPS reports before they go out now, so if you could go ahead and try to remember to do that from now on, that'd be great. All right.
So there you go. So it wasn't just one boss, it's multiple bosses that he has to deal with. This is the problem of going with administration. So the bigger the company is, or the bigger the educational field, whatever you're in, is, the more problems you're going to have with administration. And sometimes that tends to create inefficiencies within the group, as well as just dealing with colleagues. Like you saw, like he's trying to get some silence, and his colleague is like, no, I can't do this. So just things like that, that does affect the work. And we can see another video right here.
Slidell, this is my associate, Bob Porter.
Oh, hi, Bob. Bob?
Pretty much, go ahead and grab a seat and join us for a minute or two. You see, what we're actually trying to do here is we're trying to get a feel for how people spend their day at work. So, if you would you walk us through a typical day for you?
Yeah.
Great.
Well, I generally come in at least 15 minutes late. I use the side door. That way Lumberg can't see me. And after that, I just sort of space out for about an hour. Till I'm
Space out?
Yeah, I just stare at my desk. But it looks like I'm working. I do that for probably another hour after lunch, too. I'd say in a given week, I probably only do about 15 minutes of real, actual work.
Peter, would you be a good sport and indulge us and just tell us a little more?
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you something about TPS reports.
TPS stands
The thing is, Bob, it's not that I'm lazy. It's that I just don't care.
Don't care?
It's a problem of motivation, all right? Now, if I work my ass off and Initech ships a few extra units, I don't see another dime. So where's the motivation? And here's something else, Bob. I have 8 different bosses right now.
I beg your pardon?
8 bosses.
8?
8, Bob. So that means that when I make a mistake, I have 8 different people coming by to tell me about it. That's my only real motivation, is not to be hassled. That and the fear of losing my job. But you know, Bob, that'll only make someone work just hard enough not to get fired.
Would you bear with me for just a second, please?
Okay.
What if, and believe me,
This is so hypothetical.
but what if you were offered some kind of a stock option equity sharing program? Would that do anything for you?
I don't know, I guess. Listen, I'm gonna go. It's been really nice talking to both of you guys.
Absolutely. The pleasure's all on this side of the table, trust me.
Good luck with your layoffs, all right? I hope your firings go really well.
You will not hear that on the actual field, but it's basically the sentiments of what it feels like working in an office space like that. And it's not just, like he said, it's not just that you're not interested in the work, is that you don't have the enthusiasm anymore because you're not receiving anything extra from working harder. So one of the things that most companies try to do, but most of them fail, is that they're trying to motivate their workers, and they try to motivate the people that into being productive in this field. And the problem is how you do that. And like the guy said that towards the end, would you be interested in getting shares from the company so that your work is actually being created into a form of something of value that is tangible to you. So let's go to the next slide. So marketing, for me, based on my experience, marketing is all about values. So we have 2 different examples of companies that are very prestigious. Like, for example, you know what Apple is? Blerta, could you talk about Apple for a bit?
Sorry?
Could you talk about Apple, the company, as a whole? Like, what's your impression of it?
Well, actually, I'm very satisfied as a consumer of this company because I have my laptop and my iPhone also from the Apple. So I think they have very nice mission. And well, actually, what I heard about it, they also offer very good benefits to employees they work there. And they're improving, and they are insisting to improve to have more gender equality in the work environment. So I think, yeah, that's very good thing what they're doing. And regarding to about night commissions, I'm not very favorable of this brand because, firstly, I'm not very sportive type. I'm more office girl, like being so much all the time elegant. And all I can say it's because they have a very great athletes, and they also, of course, they are doing very good. But I think now also they have a little bit competitors in those days because I'm speaking here for the Europe. They have also Dosenbad that actually it's Austrian and German company. They're providing very nice athletes, and I think maybe you can have this kind of competitive with them. Who knows?
It's not just that; it's also like Adidas, and then here in the U.S. we got Under Armour, and Under Armour is currently becoming very popular. It's one of the companies They're taking the market by storm. So what I was saying from Apple, my perspective of them is that when they started, just on the vision of Steve Jobs alone, is that people with passion can change the world for the better, right? So if you think anybody that was during that time period, somebody that had a passion or goal, what computer would they be using? They were using a Mac, right? They wouldn't be using a Windows or a Dell computer. They'll be using a Mac because that's what they feel like it. But now, the distribution strategy, the place, the product, the manufacturing, everything can change about Apple. But if the mission statement and the core of their values is not the same, it will not be the same product. And I believe that this is something that Apple currently is, in some ways, not really being like sticking to their original values, just because if you look at, for example, the newest computer models, now it's more of a hassle. Even the cell phone itself, you gotta buy an extra plug so that you can plug in your earphones and then you can plug it into the power cable to charge your phone, right? So if you were innovating, wouldn't you want to make something better instead of making it more of a hassle for your consumers and having them buy an extra product just to be able to plug in their phones and listen to music at the same time? So in some ways, Apple has been changing after the death of Steve Jobs, and it's due to the fact that the companies become too big and they forget about their original values. And sometimes it takes an innovator to be able to bring them back to their roots. As well as Nike. When Nike started, Nike wasn't about their product. You never heard them speak about the shoes or why the shoes were better or why they were of higher quality. It was more about them honoring athletes and the performance and their goals and everything that they have worked on. Like, for example, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, all of these athletes, they were supported when they were young by Nike because Nike saw future in them. And in that, their goal, like their brand, was linked to these individuals, these athletes, and that's where it became a prestigious company. So that's one way that you see marketing, and that's from my own experience how companies can do really well. For example, currently the company that we're going over with is Venture Addicted. It's the company, something that they do really well is that they have a community aspect. And I believe that for that company to be more successful, they should develop more time into their community to make it something better. Because at the end of the day, it's the people that bring your company to that position where you can be financially stable and be successful. It's not really your products. Because at the end of the day, nobody buys a product. They buy the people and they buy the things and they buy everything like that.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. So we're going to be talking about the aspects of a leader and how to be one. And this is very important because if you're going to be a coach or you're going to be a head coach or you're just going to be a leader within your team, you're going to need to know these values and you're going to need to know how to adjust accordingly to be able to be a successful leader. So one quote from Sun Tzu, if you guys ever read The Art of War, is that regard your soldiers as children and they will follow you to the deepest valleys. Look unto them as your beloved sons and they will stand to you unto death. So what this means is that if you treat others with the same respect that you would treat yourself, then they will treat you accordingly. So for a leader depends on goodwill, as a boss depends on the authority figure. So like you said in the video, we have this guy being more of a subjective towards his worker, like, hey, have you finished the report? Have you completed this? Instead of, hey, well, what's the problem? And then, oh, okay, I have the report here, so that you wouldn't bother him anymore. Because he has the report, it was just a mistake that happened, and you don't blame them for the mistake. So, like I said, a boss, they drive their employees, they blame for the breakdowns, they command others, they use people, inspire fear. If you ever been into a work environment, you ever had that one boss that they like when you saw him coming around, you started acting like you were doing more work than you usually do just because you're afraid of he might say something, right? So that happens in any work environment, and that's because they're trying to use their boss authority rather than being a leader and trying to inspire you to work harder. So a leader, what they would do is they would work 200% what they expect from you. So if they want 100%, they have to work 200% more than you to be able to show you, look, this is what I can do, so can you do it as well. So they develop people, they teach enthusiasm, they give credit to others when credit is due. When you do something successfully, hey, good job, you're doing great. All of those things can help a lot, and you don't talk about I, you talk about we, because in a team there's no I in team, there's me. Just kidding, but that's a joke. Me. Just kidding. Anyways, so let's go to the next slide. So just follow your dreams and meet your goals. So this is one individual that I found very interesting. I've been looking into his videos for over a year, and he has created a hamster utopia. So let's go into it for one quick sec.
A man has a choice. I chose the impossible. I built a city where the artist would not
So he's
fear
been working
the
for 8
senses,
years to create a hamster
where the
utopia
great
underwater.
will not be constrained by the small, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality. I chose to build rapture.
So as you guys can see, it's inside its own water habitat. It's just one person, what they have been doing during their free time for 8 years, and they have been able to successfully have experience within close to their lake pond. There's actually a lot of information that I can show you. He has a blog spot, and you guys can see has even created a little submarine for the hamsters where they can just drive around. It's really interesting if you guys are interested to looking into this. It's just a single guy has been doing all this, just trying to create a habitat for hamsters underwater, which is insane. And it's a really big blog spot. I'm just going to close it because I don't think we have enough time to go over it. But if you guys are interested, his Patreon will be right here, and I will share the link if you would like to support him. It's just really cool. It's little hamsters underwater, basically. Anyways, let's get back on track, and let's go to the next slide. All right, so I'm gonna pass it to Blerta. Can you go ahead and?
Yeah, sure. Maybe you who gonna change the slides, or I have to share my screen.
No. I'm sharing it here, and then you can tell me when you would like to.
All right. Okay. Right. All right. So we also choose to speak about the plagiarism. The reason why we choose is because it's the part of the program of Nick's culture, and also we're dealing with plagiarism every time, especially we're doing essays or case studies or research paper and everything. And every time we have to handle those professors that actually came here and come to us and say you have done a plagiarism, and of course you're just stuck, you don't know how to avoid it and what actually you need to do it. So I think every one of us know what actually is the plagiarism it is, like when you copy someone else's work, and that's actually you're doing a very bad job because you're using someone else's opinions, and at least you have to cite it, to put references regarding to AP style. And today I'm going to be focusing on those things, going to be in text plagiarism, image plagiarism, video plagiarism, also about the audio. And we can continue with the next slide. So the next one is going to speak about the Carlos. So what actually team working skills and participation effectively.
Okay, so working in team skills and participating effectively. So I have 2 different cases, and both of these cases are from this year, so they're going to be very relevant to you guys. As a coach or just as a student in general, this is something that you can use the feedback and use it in your own team. So the first case is a student who doesn't know what the team is doing for the week. There's a lack of communication within the team, and the morale is being lost because he doesn't know what's going on. He thinks the team doesn't care about him just because nobody's communicating to him what we should be doing or what is his role in the project, or what the project is, when is it going to be due. Anything like that will be an effect of loss of morale in your team. So you can see this is the first example. And the second example is a student who contacts the coach for assistance, tries to understand what is due for the week. So he's trying to reach out. He's trying to figure out what is due for that week. He's communicating effectively with the team. And if there's there's no leader, no clear leader within the team, he takes the lead as a group and tries to complete the project successfully. So that's one way that he tries to take the initiative. And at the end of the day, is just try to take the initiative, try to bring, whether it's work or in a relationship, or it's just something that you're trying to do for school, try to take the lead in the project so that you can complete it. Because at the end of the day, it might just be a couple of people working on it. So what you can do for the first case, like as I said, just take the lead, take the initiative. and try to participate. Don't give out just because you believe that your team doesn't care about you or because there's a lack of communication. If there's no communication, bring that communication forward. Speak with an authority figure that can do something about it. All right, so next slide. So Blerta, you have the floor.
Yeah. So we know actually the X-Culture provide us in the team working, and actually the struggles start when you have to work in team with people you don't know. And of course, for me, has been like, very difficult for the first time. I just came in the X-Culture and my professor presented to me what actually they do, and it's a team working. And to be very honest with you, I have never been having a work like international team working. And, we always come to the question to me, why I have to work in teams, but actually my benefits is working in teams, why I have to work with people from around the world, different countries, different cultures, or maybe I can't speak very good in English because English is not my mother language. So I have to be able to understand so on. And that's the reason why actually I think it's very important to have work in teams, because it helps you to have more motivation yourself. It gives you the opportunity to have more feedbacks from different peoples. Of course, that to use that kind of feedbacks in a good way, not to take as, I don't know, maybe because I'm critiquing you, or maybe because it's you're just using me like a different way. And it's good to have that kind of different feedbacks from others. And also it's like to improve in efficiency and productivity on you in your works. It provides you to learn new opportunities and also promote the workplace synergy. So most of the companies today is all the time they're looking people that actually they are team working and they can have very experience in working with team and different international team working. Why? Because somehow this kind of experience is actually shaping you for the better future, and also it's helped you to see the goals very clearly, what actually you wanted from life. So that's the reason why you want to work in team.
And to elaborate further on that, when you're in a team, try to be constructive and provide constructive criticism, not just criticize the other individual. So say when you're playing sports, you don't want to be the guy that's going to be bringing down the team. You're going to be you're going to be the guy that's going to say, okay, we're doing this wrong, but how can we improve on it? So we could have passed the ball here, but how can we do it so the other team is not on the loop and we can successfully win the game, right? So that's what you're trying to do by the end of the day, basically. So dealing with group morale, what is morale? Morale is basically the enthusiasm within the students, the enthusiasm within the team. If you're in sports, as I mentioned before, you don't want to be the guy that's bringing everybody down. You want to be the guy that's motivating everybody to keep going until the game is ended. Until the time is out, then that's when the game ends. But if you're losing, that doesn't matter, because I've seen a lot of teams in the end, they have been able to pull through and have successfully completed the project or have successfully won the game at the last minute, right? But you always have to have high morale, and you never have to be dissociated. And in ways that you can improve this is by having acceptance within the group. So you're not trying to push anybody away just because they look different or they speak with a different accent. That will affect the team. So you try to be as not judgmental as you can. Just try to be calm with everybody else, showing common goals and beliefs. If you have a similar background to somebody from another part of the world, that's something that you can bring up, and that's something that's very useful. Having a feeling of belonging in the team, that you're being accepted with your teammates, that also helps a lot. And confidence. Overall, you have to have confidence. If you don't have confidence in yourself, how can everybody else have confidence in you? So you gotta be the example, right? And as I said, there's this different diagrams that you can. Now, right here, it's a long distance leadership. So everybody, in a way, is dependent to this guy to be able to provide all the information, and it's a loop. So when it's just one leader, there tends to be a bit of problems, just because if that guy is absent for one day, there's going to be chaos in the entire group. So what you try to do is not to centralize, but more to have multiple centers where not just one person is the leader, but it is multiple people. And multiple people, when somebody is out for work or something else, the other person can take over in charge and be able to participate on the project. So the second figure as well, it's more of a long leader mentality. This is the strong leader. And then the third one is unstructured. So this is basically when there's just chaos, when nobody knows what's going on. People are just trying to communicate with whoever they can. And this is the worst figure that you could have in your team. This is what is going to cause all the problems in your team, because you don't have a strong central authority and you don't have multiple centers where they can communicate easily. Okay, so let's talk about group dynamics. When do you talk about that, Blerta?
Yeah, procedures for dealing with plagiarism, and they are verifying, discussing, and informing, and also you have to follow up this. So, I mean, in the team dynamics, they can have very effective plagiarism because, you know, when someone actually don't cite the sources, actually they have took that paragraph or maybe that kind of statistic that actually used in the presentation, or maybe in the teamwork just to speak about it. So actually here is like one of the points that actually the conflict starts. Why? Because they are not showing where have you take this kind of paragraph, because they are just saying to each other like, yeah, I have done this, no, you have done this. So it's not very good. So it's very, very important to be very pay attention to plagiarism, and also it is to prevent tactics and to outcome. Those are two other steps that you have to use when actually you have to working regarding to the plagiarism.
Okay.
All right. So you can pass to the next.
Let's go to the next slide.
Yeah.
So as I said, one of the main things that you need to be able to successfully participate in a team is that you have to have self-confidence. And a lot of times there tends to be a lack of a leader in the team. So these videos are just to show you that it's not that just one person can be a leader, everyone can be a leader. It's just that you gotta teach each individual how to trust themselves and how to be able to take the lead. So let's watch the first video.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Now I want you to tell me what you don't like about yourself, but be honest with me. Don't be clever, don't be angry, be honest.
I'm fat. And I'm ugly. And I ruin things.
Try and find some sense of how long you've felt that way.
I don't know. Since I was about 9 or 10.
So this is an opinion you formed a long time ago about yourself. Open your eyes. I want you to imagine a 10-year-old version of yourself sitting right there on this couch. Now, this is the little girl who first believed that she was fat and ugly and an embarrassment. I want you to imagine her sitting there right now. Now, tell that little girl she's fat.
I'm not going to do that.
Tell that little girl she's ugly.
I don't want to.
Tell that little girl she's an embarrassment and worthless and useless. Because that's what you do every single day when you say that to yourself. When you convince yourself that you're an embarrassment and a burden. But don't you think she's ugly?
No.
No? Or fat?
No.
No? Or an embarrassment? Or horrible or worthless?
Just stop it! No! Right? No?
What do you want to say to that little girl? If she said to you that's how she felt about herself, what would you tell her?
That she's fine. That she's perfect.
Then that's what you need to tell yourself. Every time you feel that panic, that anxiety. You need to soothe yourself like you would soothe the little girl. Yeah?
Yeah.
You need to tell yourself that everything is going to be okay. If you commit to that, then I promise you, you'll be able to face anything.
So basically what the video is trying to say is that everybody has their own flaws. And if we just look at our flaws, we will never be able to achieve something in life. So what we got to do is we got to look at our strengths and build upon them. And that's something that I found inspirational, because that tends to be true with everybody. Everybody has their own flaws and everybody has their own fears about life. But at the end of the day, we're all just here to learn, and we're all just to be better people. So here's another video that I also found interesting, if you guys would like to see it. It's only a minute.
It's a wonderful thing. No matter how filthy something gets, you can always clean it right up.
There were so many. I just gave them all what they wanted.
Yeah. But since when does anyone have a clue about what they want?
So what do I do?
Parting your soup is not a miracle, Bruce. It's a magic trick. A single mom who's working 2 jobs and still finds time to take her kid to soccer practice, that's a miracle. A teenager who says no to drugs and yes to an education, that's a miracle. People want me to do everything for them, when what they don't realize is they have the power. You want to see a miracle, son? Be the miracle.
So just be the miracle. You want to see a change? You want to see a project's completion? You want to be able to finish your education or whatever the goal is? Do it yourself. Because you're the only person that can stop you from meeting your own goals. Okay, so Blerta, you have this one.
Yeah, I was impressed about how much motivation you are bringing, you know, for those 2 videos. And to be very honest with you, I mean, every one of us face with kind of things today. I mean, that's kind of people that actually, they just try to disvalue you and try to put different nicknames to you. And yeah, but yeah, that's very nice. All right, so I will continue with the consequences of the plagiarism. And I think, of course, all universities have kind of the policy that actually rules that go about the plagiarism. And the first one can be like excluding you from the course that actually you're attending. The worst thing can be what actually they justify. I mean, it's just like your work can get destroyed, and also it can give you an exclusion from academic institution as well. But the other thing is that what they can do is they can close every door if you want to apply in different universities, because they're going to have you like a red form for your name that actually every time you want to register in a university, they will be noted that you have a red list, that actually you have been finding to have done terrible work like plagiarizing. But I think a lot of others countries, they have also kind of things, not actually just to exclude you, but also you have to clean the school or university or college, what actually it is in that country. And, you know, it's very interesting, but at least actually this kind of thing, they just damage you and also damage your future as well. And I will continue in another slide. The other slide speaks about, yeah, sorry.
Okay. The worst thing about just plagiarizing is that you're going to get a super F.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I forget that part. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you're going to fail, that's for sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's move on.
So I think it's very important to focus what kind of referencing you're doing, you know. So you have to put the text citation on the reference pages. And the second one, you have to reference including in-text breaks and page headers as well. So this is an APA style. And I think even in the States, even here in Europe, we use this kind of style working. And I think it's very, very good to the reason because it teaches you how to be a professional, even not to start a PhD degree. Because, of course, if you want to start a PhD degree, you have to be very responsibility for every work that actually you do, because all of the things that actually you will be working is going to be about case studies, research paper, and that is very important to know that kind of thing. Here you will see also how to cite, you know, regarding to the correct form of the APA style. So you have the name of the author, and then you provide to the you know, like divided like a space or appended before the final author, and then you have full stop after the bracket. I think it's very important also to know the year where the, I don't know, maybe it can be journal or can be a book or master thesis when you find in Google, or I mean in the Google Scholar and even the Google what actually you're using for. So it's very important, but I want just to give you a tip. I think it's very good if you don't use Google to find any, I don't know, any PDF paper or any example if you're doing a very, very deep research. Why? Because even every time when you want to do, even to apply for a bachelor degree or master degree or PhD degree, the main focus of those person that actually has the form to see and to read where actually you write, they're going to be noting, and the first thing that they're going to be to the reference part. Why? If the reference part is doing correctly and you have cite all of their sources and everything that you find in Google, not Google, but avoid Google, it's better to use Google Scholar and other, I have a link here actually you can use also. So it's that reason that give you more points and in other work that actually you're doing. So if you have Carlos to say something for this slide, you can go ahead. If no, so we can
just the last thing that I would like to mention is that at the end of the day, if you were an author of a book, you would want to be cited properly. So that's why institutions ask you to do it this way.
Yeah,
just
true.
So that you can give the reference and you can give the prestige to the person that wrote the work, and all their effort can be paid off. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this is the...
So I think, of course, yeah, absolutely. So for students like me, and I guess like you as well, so you have to do a paragraphs that actually change the words and pairs in the original sources. And the other thing it is citation. So it's like text citation with authors, and of course all the publication that actually you find it. And references actually started with the include pages of their source. And regarding to the team management, you have to to set a goals with each other to say stop avoiding, and also to don't copy each other's what actually do, but to try to do it your own self by, of course, collaborating with each other. And also to ask each member if they're doing a plagiarism, of course, to review their part, or maybe they're not being very honest to declare and to say that, yes, I'm doing plagiarism, and of course, that's going to be done or word bad. I have bad experience. When I started Xculture, we was a group of team members. It was 8, and I started in 2016. So the point here was like we have 2 team members that actually was not being very honest, and we was, of course, in the way to be the best team, because every year Xculture has like to be the best team. You know, when you do not plagiarize in work and you give reports to your company, you give feedbacks, and actually you try to be very professional and also to be very business person in the future, because you're just correcting those mistakes and you're just giving like your contribution on it. And we faced on that. So 2 of those people actually was not anymore part of Xculture because there was those in plagiarism. And the rest of us, of course, was being very honest work. And yeah, here we are. Maybe some of them actually, they are until today part of Xculture. So I think it's very important to pay attention to those people, because they are thinking that actually doing collaboration with you, but in fact they are doing false collaboration. So it's not like actually being very honest with you. And also it's better to double check the source and also tune check and spin both. That is very important part to do very good and professional work. Okay, so we can continue the next slide.
So just about plagiarism.
If you want to say something, you can go. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 2 examples right here. You can see the Mexican flag, and on the other side, anybody knows what flag this is? This is the Italian flag. Now, so give me a guess. Which one you think is older? Blerta, just guess. Which one you think is actually older?
Can be something with Italy, of course, but I don't know, maybe can have something different. I think it's eagle, correct? I can't see. I don't know, honestly.
So the flags, the color scheme, it's exactly the same, maybe just a slightly different red. But at the end of the day, there's like a difference between 27 years of the implementation of flags, and they're like right across the map from each other, right? So Mexico is really far away from Italy. Well, the only difference, right, is that they have an eagle. So you want to try to avoid plagiarism. Of course, this is like just flags, right? So I don't think it really matters. But imagine if the UN had to like have a vote over who's going to get to keep the flag. That would be really funny. Okay, so you can go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, but that's funny. Anyway, it's very interesting as well, you know, when actually you just have like a logo, simple logo that have it just different, you know. But for instance, for some people that actually have that far away, I'm totally sure they're going to say, that's Italy, that's Italy. But yeah, anyway. All right. So I have 3 tips how to avoid plagiarism. The first one is to cite your source, and the second one is to keep a track of your source. That includes saving them online or directly to your computer. And the third one is use a plagiarism checker. And in the continuous slides, we will have also how to how to be confident and how you don't plagiarize. And also it is overwhelming because sometimes, you're trying to avoid, but in the same time you're saying the same words. So sometimes just happen those kind of things. But also it's very strange when the professor told her that you have plagiarized and you're insisting all the time saying, no, I didn't. But actually she have found maybe just a very like a title or maybe just a paragraph that is similar what actual expression you're using with the Google. Maybe it can be a word according, or maybe it can be a word however, or maybe it can be in this point or from the viewpoint. So here actually when the conflict starts, so I think it's better how to use those things, to use tools to avoid that kind of plagiarism. So the next slide, it will speak about the links. Yeah, here are the plagiarism websites. So here actually you can use full, and I'm using the Grammarly,
Grammarly link?
Yeah, Grammarly link, exactly. Because I'm doing all the time because I'm thinking that I'm sharing the screen. So yeah, and yeah, it's very, very useful and it helps me a lot. And also it helps you to write very good English for all of you that actually don't have a mother language in English. So it helps you also to use, the sentences if you want to change it, to know the meaning, or maybe because one word have different, one word can have different meanings. So yeah, it's very helpful. But the other thing that actually I use too, sorry?
Actually, I have the actual Google link on my actual computer. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but I have Grammarly for Chrome.
Yeah.
And I use it all the time when I'm writing or reviewing reports. And that's what helps me a lot, because sometimes you won't be able to catch those small mistakes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And the other thing that actually I use is like the QText. It's very good. It's free. And also you can use for free. You can just have to like log in and to register. So yeah, it's very good, and also help you to avoid time, help you also to avoid the plagiarism. And it's also very good because it shows you, if you go to put the type or something, I don't know, maybe just a paragraph, you just copy and paste, and you just can see in the right side, you have the link ultimately where those paragraph is found in Google or somewhere else in the source. So yeah, it's very good. Okay. And here I will speak about what are the concept of the business ethics. And so we all know what actually is ethic, a work that actually make you to be very honest in the place you work. You work in an ethical way, but somehow most of the people, they are not want to do an ethical business way. But today, what actually it is, because ethics can be immoral also for a lot of people, and also can be ethical problems that actually can arise in business environment. So, of course, I have here a figure, okay, actually speaks about the business ethics, and the first one is about the trust. So, how to be a very do very business ethic. It means you have to be responsible to what actually you're doing and everything. You have to put trust, and also to have morality, to be reliable, to have a choice, and also a relationship. Relationship is very important because it pays like a lot with who you're working, and also with who you're putting that kind of work relationship. And also it is principle and behavior. Of course, behavior, it's another case very important. Why? Because actually you're just showing your own self. It means that you are not being only ethical, like just say, for instance, I want to do this because of money. No, because we know today even maybe goals of others can be changed. Maybe for one period of years you can work with a company, but somehow you have to change the company. So somehow it's not only the goal to make money, but I think it's very important how actually you're working this kind of work in the ethical way.
Okay, let's speed up through the slides. We don't have much time left, so let's try to continue as fast as we can.
Yeah, all right. So I just a case here. Probably most of you have heard about it, Enron case. Just to avoid the time, we have a video that actually show exactly what Enron have done. So we will just see the video, and then I will continue just some points to add.
Seventh largest corporation in the United States, at one point valued at over $70 billion. As of 1997, however, they started losing money and accumulating debt. Instead of admitting their mistakes and making changes, Enron executives decided to hide the losses through accounting tricks because they didn't want the Enron stock price to go down. Risky decisions kept being made, and the truth was hidden under the rug. As of 2001, however, the media started wondering whether or not Enron was overvalued. This obviously put a lot of pressure on Enron stock prices, which used to be as high as $90.75 per share. Insiders decided to cash out and started selling lots of shares, and prices kept falling until they ended up at below $1 in late 2001. In December 2001, Enron ultimately filed for bankruptcy. Approximately 20,000 jobs and $2 billion in employee retirement funds were lost. Many executives were brought to justice, and some of them ultimately ended up receiving prison sentences. Enron was an early example of just how recklessly some corporations are managed. We then had countless other examples, mainly in the
So that's just an example of what happens with Enron. That was the case study that Blerta was talking about. Okay, now let's continue.
Yeah, so well, actually, I'm going to be just stop here in those points is who was harmed about that kind of collapse of this Enron case. So, of course, the first had been stakeholders and employees because they lose a lot of work position. We have consumers in California as well because, of course, when you have a very big company running for a lot of years and actually you're thought that you have success, but in fact it was like hiding success. So, of course, you're going to have a lot of consumers from other countries. It's suppliers, of course, it's Enron accounting firm. Also, these investors and suppliers and families or employees. The next slide, it speaks about ethical business practice. I just mentioned before what kind of actually work you have to doing to practice and to be more ethical in all work actually environment that you are giving contribution. So what I'm actually going to start is about what is a stakeholder theory in a business ethics. So it means you're going to have about the company, workers, it's about shareholders, community, and it's about suppliers as well, and also gives you the local community. So the point here it is about what actually it's, the stakeholder theory it is. Sometimes we have heard a little about saying that, yeah, I'm an owner of this company, so I have my shares over there. But in fact, when you have to be the stakeholder, it means that you have management, a business to work in ethic that attracts morals and values in managing an organization, a corporation, or a company as well. Such can be related. Sorry?
Let's continue.
Yeah, I'm trying to be fast, so it's to relate to the social responsibility. We have the other slide here. It speaks about internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. So, of course, an internal it is employees, managers, and owners, and external it is suppliers, society, government, creditors, shareholders, and consumers. And of course, what Enron does it mean to maintain an ethical culture? I think Enron in this case has failed to have an ethical culture because even the CEO, even the employees as well, because this has been a cycle. Not only Enron has been the person who actually has been failed and actually have done very bad job, but also this have been very a cycle. Not only one person, but this one step by step to all a person to do bad things.
Okay, so
and how actually can be a business ethical? It's you have a characteristics of value, and also can be honesty, can be integrity, permission keeping, can be truthfulness, and also loyalty, and of course you have to be concerned about others. I will continue with the code of the conduct, and this means that every company, every organization, institution have that kind of the code of the conduct. You can move the slides, Carlos.
Okay. All right, so let's go next one.
No, it's another one after that.
Oh, the next one. Okay. Then this one?
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, every time in the company you have that kind of code of conduct that's speaking about your code, what actually you're addressed in code, like your time in time, and if you are punctual in time and stuff like this. But I think it's always code of the conduct or code of ethics that actually mean us to see if they are both the same meaning or maybe they are just not exactly the same or so. But by the end, it means that those terms are often the same meaning, Why? Because code of ethics is mean to be an ethic in the work actually you're doing, while the code of the conduct is providing you some rules that actually how you have to wear, how you have to behave with other with a team working or in a work environment as well. So it's made of 5 fundamental principles. It's one about the integrity, objective, professional competence, and also professional behavior. And the other slide speaks about project management ethic. So in this case, I think it's very, so ethics enable stakeholders and employees and all of that like to be more professional, of course. So for instance, if you actually have a team that to work very hard and very good work, you have that kind of steps that actually start from ethical behavior, like building trust, effective leadership, and also to have a project success. But also in these primary cases, I think it's very important to have also to reduce project risk and to provide a greater chance of success and also to increase the faith and trust of other below. And the other side is actually going to be almost the last one. Yeah, it's how to manage the conflict in teams. I think, of course, every one of us has having that kind of conflicts in teams because somehow we was like not very collaborating with each other, or maybe we're not valuing each other. Maybe it was like giving opinion and expression to saying, yeah, he's good on that one, but he's not doing, blaming to each other and etc. things. But I think there are like a couple of ways how to avoid conflict in teams. And the first one, it is like to break the ice between each other. Maybe, for instance, I have something with Carlos that actually have something like a main thing together, a main point. For instance, I like football, he likes football also, or something like this. So maybe you can start doing this. Yeah, maybe. But I know it's like different kind of things how actually other team members, they just can have it kind of that find a point that actually break the ice. And the other thing it is like maybe to have a get that together the group, like to have a working on discussing issues, put a positive situation on it, and also let someone ground rules for solving the conflict. You know, it's not all of the team members are very good and very in all the tools, it's always someone that is better in English. It's always someone that actually is good in technology. It's always someone else that is very good, I don't know, maybe doing some research, or it's always someone else that actually is doing very good work to have it all the team together. Maybe that can be a leader, but I think it's very good opportunity doing the team works that actually you can change the team leader every week. Why? Yeah. Because that can be interesting. To give everyone experience of working, to be like a leader and to know exactly what actually they can provide for. And all about what actually we have here in the reference slide. So if you guys have any question, we are here for you. And yeah, feel free to ask.
Okay, so we have a Q&A. We probably will have to end it really quick. So any questions you guys have, make sure to write them down really fast, and we'll try to answer them as soon as we can.
Unfortunately, we don't have time for Q&A. It is time to start our next webinar. I'm sorry, guys, but thank you so much. Okay. You guys had a great presentation. And Annie and Danish, if you want to attend, anybody, you guys can all attend the next webinar, which starts right now. And so thank you so much again, Blerta and Carlos, for your guys' wonderful
Thank you so much.
Well, if anything, I will leave the presentation on the Q&A, so if any of you would like to see it on your own time, you can look at it.
What was that?
I will put in the link of the presentation, so if anybody would like to see it themselves.
Yes, and I also recorded it, so I will also be posting it for the students as well.
Okay, sounds good.
Great. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you so much for your time.